figuring out the groove in Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. When I would play this song live, I know there's percussion splitting between the hi-hat. You got the tapu 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 tapu. I would always play to mimic the percussion, the taps and the hi-hat. Then I was like, you know what? I want to actually play the percussion for that track. So at first, I thought it was a shaker. I taped a stick to the shaker, which I've done before. I originally did that when I was covering Wanna Be Startin' Something by Michael Jackson. I tried to take that same approach and play this groove. And then I started doing some research. I saw someone else say it's a cabasa. I ordered this cabasa pedal. So I started playing the groove and splitting it with the hi-hat. Now, a lot of songs I do, I love using the second pair of hi-hats so I can keep one closed, and then if I have to use an open hi-hat. This one I had to do that because there are some open hi-hats, but of course, my left foot is busy. So if I were to do that with this, you're gonna have that loose sound. But there are open hi-hats, so what I end up doing is I go, I stomp at the same time. Really not that crazy. I learned that pretty fast. Now the coordination of the song is hard to keep it going. That was what I figured out. Okay, this is a cabasa, splitting it rather than the shaker. The shaker sounds really cool though, by the way, if you have a shaker. Now let's talk about the kick pattern. I always thought the kick pattern was, I put it in Moises. When I listened to Moises, check it out. It's a shuffle. I think it's getting buried with the snare in the track, but there is a shuffle. Next thing I wanted to do was get the right snare sound. It's one of those tunes that will probably be a lot more post-editing as far as adding reverb, mainly to the snare. I think everything else would be fine, but the snare is gonna require more gated reverb. It's got that 80s snare sound. I have one of these kick patches from Aquarian. Now I actually took it off to show my friend it. Works like a big fat snare drum, you know? The real point of this is if you're playing a gig and you bust your kick drum, you put it on there and it'll last you through the gig. But it works as a big fat snare drum. So I keep it with me all the time. Shout out to Chris Brady, Aquarian. They're incredible. I love these heads. Now, getting comfortable with the song. It was a lot. What I usually do is I'll slow it down on YouTube to like 70%, maybe 60 if needed, whatever. I'll go up by 5%. I think a lot of people probably do that. Now, one really cool thing I want to talk about when I was learning this groove. I still think this is really hard. I took a couple lessons with Chris Coleman. I remember he told me to get the All-American Drummer. If you've played through the All-American Drummer is like half of the solos are in 2/4, half the solos are in 6/8. But he didn't just have me play each solo. He would tell me to count quarter notes, half notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, or you'd count what you see. And then he would say, okay, I want your left foot to play. You're gonna play that, and then your right foot's gonna go. He would go through all the different rhythms, and then you'd have to play the solo. I remember one was, which is the cabasa part. So let's just go through solo 11. That's the first 6/8 one. You might do something like, you would do all these different right foot patterns, and you had a list of them. The shuffle was one. Then the shuffle with the right foot. Tricky, and I still need to work on that. So many different possibilities. That really helps with your independence. So shout out to Chris Coleman for doing that. That was like a boot camp. All right, let's play the song. I'm gonna have a transcription so you can play along if you like. Use that YouTube slowdown button. If y'all wanna hear the full video, you can watch it right here. Here's the full cover. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.